Welcome to this deep dive into the fascinating and, let's be honest, sometimes unsettling world of artificial intelligence.
Hmm.
We've gathered a compelling collection of information to really try and understand the real-world implications of AI.
Yeah, moving beyond the sort of, futuristic hype.
Exactly. We want to look at concrete examples, what the experts are saying.
Right. You brought together some really rich material here, and our goal really is to pull out the most crucial insights.
The challenges, too.
The challenge it, absolutely, and maybe where AI is heading. We're aiming this squarely at you, someone who's curious, wants to learn, and needs the big picture without getting lost in all the technical jargon.
Totally. We're going to explore how AI is already, woven into our lives. Think financial markets, social interactions.
Even the battlefield.
Yeah, even there. And we'll look at the concerns from leading AI experts, compare those with, well, the dramatic stuff we see in sci-fi.
Yeah, see how it stacks up. Think of this as your guide, basically. Navigating AI risks, the failures we've already seen.
We want to equip you with a solid understanding, maybe spark some important questions about, what's next.
Okay, so where do we start? Maybe with that sci-fi image.
Yeah, good idea. Because when most people think AI going wrong, it's probably like the Terminator, right? Or
Yeah.
Black Mirror, Ex Machina.
Definitely. Killer robots, superintelligence turning evil. It grabs the imagination.
It really does. Spectacular stuff.
But, and this is crucial, we need to pivot straight to reality. Those scenarios, while captivating, they're not really the immediate threat.
Okay.
The risks right now, and probably in the near future, are often more subtle, but still really significant. We're talking about narrow AI mostly.
Not sentient machines.
Not sentient machines, no. Systems designed for specific tasks.
So if it's not Skynet launching nukes tomorrow, what are the actual problems we're seeing?
Well, based on the info we have, the big drivers seem to be unintended consequences and human misuse. So even AI built with good intentions, or just AI rolled out without enough thought, it can cause some major negative outcomes, stuff nobody planned for.
Right, okay, that makes sense. Can you give us a really clear example where automated systems just went sideways, even without anyone meaning them to?
Oh, definitely. The 2010 flash crash. U.S. stock market. It's almost a textbook case.
I remember hearing about that. Chaos, right?
Utter chaos. Major market indexes just plummeted. Over 9% down in minutes. Wiped out temporarily about $1 trillion in value.
$1 trillion in minutes. That's hard to wrap your head around.
It is. And you saw these bizarre stock prices, things trading for pennies, then back up again. Just complete instability.
So what caused it? What role did the automated systems, the AI, play?
It was largely driven by high-frequency trading algorithms, HFTs.
Okay. Super fast trading bots, basically.
Exactly. Incredibly fast, making millions of trades. What happened was something the CFTC study called hot potato trading.
Hot potato.
Yeah, like these HFTs were programmed to trade aggressively with the price trend. Price goes down, they sell fast.
Yeah.
Price goes up, they buy fast. But crucially, they weren't designed to hold big positions or absorb big losses.
So they just kept passing the risk on, amplifying the downward spiral.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It wasn't a conscious choice. It was just their code. Price drops, they sell, driving it lower, triggering more selling.
Yeah.
A cascade.
Wow.
And then there's this idea of order flow toxicity. Imagine everyone trying to get out of a door at once.
Yeah.
The market makers,
Yeah.
the ones usually providing stability, buying when others sell, they got overwhelmed and just pulled back, removed liquidity, made it even worse.
Okay, so the algorithms amplified it, market makers stepped back. Was there a human element that kicked it off?
Well, interestingly, yeah. There's the story of Navinder Singh Sarao, a trader in London.
Right.
He was later accused of manipulating the market using an automated program, doing something called spoofing.
Spoofing.
Placing huge sell orders to make it look like the price was about to tank, but planning to cancel them before they actually executed. Then he'd buy cheap.
Ah, so human manipulation interacting with the automated chaos.
Exactly. It shows that interplay. Human intent, maybe bad intent, hitting these super fast systems.
And the speed itself was obviously critical.
Absolutely critical. One source put it perfectly. The electronic platform is too fast. It doesn't slow things down like humans would. These algos were reacting faster than anyone could comprehend, let alone intervene.
So what happened afterwards? Did the rules change?
They did, but it highlights that classic problem. Regulation playing catch-up.
Right.
Things like circuit breakers, temporary trading halts during big swings, and rules against stub quoting, which were like placeholder orders at crazy prices. Those came in after the crash.
Typical.
Yeah. The SEC chairwoman at the time, Mary Shapiro, basically said, look, automated systems follow their code no matter what. Humans probably would have stopped those absurd trades.
So stepping back from the slash crash, what are the big takeaways for AI risks more broadly?
Several key things, I think. One, emerging complexity. Simple rules in individual bots can lead to unpredictable, wild system behavior.
Okay.
Two, cascade effects. Small problems blowing up incredibly fast.
Yeah.
Three, the speed issue. Automation just outpacing human control.
Yeah.
And four, regulatory lag. Always trying to catch the last crisis. So, the big lesson, complex systems, automated agents acting super fast. They can create totally irrational, dangerous outcomes for everyone. We need safeguards, human brakes.
That's a really clear and, pretty concerning picture. And it's not just finance where this stuff is happening, is it?
Oh, not at all. That's just one area. We're seeing AI failures or, let's say, problematic outcomes across many different domains.
Like what? What else should we be aware of?
Well, a really big one is algorithmic bias and discrimination.
Ah, yes. This is where the AI picks up on or even makes worse existing human biases, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It learns from the data we feed it. And if that data is biased, well, garbage in, garbage out, essentially.
Got an example?
Sure. Amazon's recruiting AI back in 2014, 2015. They tried to automate resume screening,
Okay.
but it was trained on historical hiring data, which in tech, let's face it, was heavily skewed towards men. So the AI learned that male candidates were preferable. It actually started penalizing resumes that mentioned women's colleges or women's clubs.
Wow. So it actively discriminated against women.
Unintentionally, perhaps,
Yeah.
from the developer's perspective, but yes, it learned the historical bias baked into the data.
Yeah. What else?
Well, housing discrimination. In 2019, Facebook got sued by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Over ads.
Yeah. Their ad platform algorithms allowed advertisers to specifically exclude users based on race, gender, religion, zip code, things protected under fair housing laws.
So it basically enabled discriminatory targeting.
It did. Even if the platform itself didn't intend to discriminate, it gave advertisers the tools to do so very effectively.
Disturbing. What about law enforcement? Policing?
Unfortunately, yes. Errors there can have devastating consequences. There was the case of Portia Woodruff in Detroit, 2019.
What happened?
Wrongfully arrested for robbery and carjacking, based entirely on a faulty match from an AI facial recognition system.
Oh my God.
She was 8 months pregnant at the time, held for 11 hours, interrogated. Absolutely terrifying and completely wrong.
And that's not just a one-off, is it? Facial recognition errors.
Sadly, no. Research consistently shows these systems have higher error rates for people of color, women, and younger or older people. And a 2024 investigation found police forces across the U.S. are using this stuff widely, often without telling anyone.
That raises huge privacy and civil liberties questions. Mass surveillance without consent.
Exactly. And speaking of manipulating reality, AI-driven misinformation and deepfakes are exploding.
Right. The fake videos, fake audio, getting scarily realistic.
Very scary. We saw it in the New Hampshire primary this year, didn't we? AI mimicking President Biden's voice in robocalls, telling people not to vote.
Yeah, I remember that. Huge fine for the guys behind it, right?
$6 million, yeah.
Yeah.
And there was that fake audio clip of Vice President Kamala Harris that spread like wildfire, too.
It's chilling. The potential to sway elections, destroy trust.
It's massive.
Hey,
and it's not just political. The financial scams are getting wild. Like later.
Last year, 2023, Hong Kong. Fraudsters use AI voice cloning to impersonate a company's CFO in a video conference call.
No way.
Yes. They convinced an employee to transfer, wait for it, $25 million.
$25 million. Based on a deepfake voice.
And video, apparently. A multi-person deepfake video call. It's next-level scamming.
Okay, that's terrifying. So these aren't just glitches, they're being actively weaponized.
Absolutely. And the risks go beyond money and reputation. Physical safety is a huge concern, especially with autonomous systems.
Self-driving cars, you mean?
Yeah, we've seen issues there. GM Cruise had to recall all 950 of their driverless cars late last year.
Why? What happened?
A really bad incident. A car hit a pedestrian who'd already been hit by another vehicle. Okay, complex situation. But then the Cruise car, because of a software flaw, actually dragged the injured person about 20 feet while trying to pull over.
Oh, that's awful.
Really awful. Led to severe injuries. And Tesla's full self-driving system is under federal investigation after a series of crashes, including fatalities. It just shows how far we still are from truly reliable autonomous driving, doesn't it?
It really does. The real world is incredibly messy and unpredictable. And maybe the most chilling application is AI in warfare.
Autonomous weapons. Drones.
Reports indicate AI-enabled drones are being used in Ukraine. And there's talk of AI targeting systems being used in other conflicts too, like identifying potential militants.
The idea of an algorithm making life or death decisions.
It's deeply problematic. Huge ethical questions. Risk of errors, escalation, unpredictability.
Yeah. And even outside these really high-stakes areas, AI can just mess up in weird ways.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it's almost comical if it weren't also worrying. Lawyers submitting briefs written by AI that contain totally made-up legal cases, fake citations.
Seriously, the AI just invented cases.
Completely hallucinated them, which brings us to hallucinations in chatbots.
Right, where they state false information confidently.
Exactly. Early demos of SearchGPT gave the wrong date for a festival. Twitter's Grok AI misinterpreted slang and accused basketball player Klay Thompson of vandalism.
Okay, so funny in that case, maybe. But if you're relying on that AI for important info...
It completely undermines trust, doesn't it? If it can't get basic facts right, how can you trust it with complex tasks?
Exactly. Which I guess leads us naturally to what the experts themselves are warning about, the people building this stuff.
Yeah, and these warnings are getting louder and coming from some very prominent figures, not just philosophers, but top AI researchers.
We've heard names like Elon Musk, Jeffrey Hinton, Stuart Russell. What are their core concerns?
Well, Elon Musk, he's put a number on it, maybe a 20% chance of AI leading to disaster. Even AI annihilation, he called it.
Wow, strong words.
Yeah, he supported that call to pause training of the really giant AI models, citing profound risks.
Okay. And Jeffrey Hinton, one of the godfathers of deep learning.
His warnings are maybe even starker. He talks about a 10–20% probability of AI causing human extinction in the coming decades.
Extinction.
His worry is about control. Once AI becomes significantly smarter than us superintelligence, how do we ensure it does what we want? How do we control something vastly more intelligent? He points out we've never had to deal with that before.
That's a sobering thought. Losing control.
Exactly. And Stuart Russell, another top researcher, he focuses heavily on this control problem too, or the alignment problem.
Alignment, making sure its goals align with ours.
Precisely. How do we build AI systems whose objectives reliably stay aligned with human values, especially if they become superintelligent and start setting their own goals? Russell argues that if we can't guarantee control, we should seriously rethink the whole direction. He wants AI that's provably aligned, robust, transparent, regulated almost like nuclear tech.
So the fear isn't necessarily evil AI like in the movies, but AI that's incredibly competent pursuing goals that just happen to have catastrophic side effects for us because we didn't specify the goals correctly.
That's a huge part of the concern, yes. Unintended consequences on a massive scale. Demis Hassabis, CEO of DeepMind, also stresses caution. He calls AI potentially one of the most powerful technologies ever and compares developers to scientists holding dangerous material. Needs extreme care.
Okay, so the consensus among many top minds is proceed with extreme caution. What specific emerging AI technologies are raising the biggest red flags right now?
Several stand out. Generative AI is definitely top of the list.
ChatGPT, image generators, that kind of thing.
Exactly. The potential for mass misinformation, sophisticated fraud, deepfakes like we discussed.
Right.
It's huge. Copyright issues are a mess. Then there are the hallucinations, the biases they inherit.
And the environmental cost too, right? Training these huge models takes massive amounts of energy and water.
The huge cost, yeah. An MIT study projected significant impacts by 2025. That's definitely getting more attention now.
Okay, so generative AI, what else?
Mass surveillance and biometric AI, facial recognition, gait analysis, even social credit type systems.
The privacy implications there are enormous.
Enormous. Plus the risk of misidentification, profiling, lack of transparency. We talked about the undisclosed police use earlier. It feels like a slow creep towards constant monitoring.
Yeah, it does. Very Black Mirror.
Yeah, it has those vibes. And finally, autonomous weapons. Law WS, lethal autonomous weapons systems.
Drones that decide who to target.
Potentially, yes. The worry is an AI arms race. Nations competing to develop these things. And the risk of false positives, mistakes, unintended escalation in a conflict. It's terrifying. There are reports from Ukraine and suggestions Israel use AI to flag tens of thousands of potential militants. The scale and speed are changing warfare.
Okay, so we have manipulation information, mass surveillance, autonomous weapons, all raising huge ethical questions and control challenges.
Oh, yeah.
What are people proposing we do about it? What are the safeguards?
It's a multi-pronged approach, really. First, the big ethical questions. How do you balance fairness versus accuracy? Privacy versus public good. How do you make black box AI understandable? Who's responsible when it goes wrong?
Right. Accountability.
And that core alignment problem. How do we make sure AI goals equals human values? We need AI that's robust, predictable.
So the solutions.
Well, regulation is a big one. The EU's AI Act is a major step, banning some uses, putting strict rules on high-risk AI.
Is that likely to be effective? We talked about regulatory lag.
It's a start. But yeah, the tech moves fast. Then there's industry self-regulation, codes of conduct, ethics principles, safety boards. That open letter calling for a pause and shared safety protocols audited by independent experts was part of that push.
Okay. What about technical fixes?
Researchers are working hard on AI alignment techniques, adversarial testing, trying to break the AI to find flaws. Some even talk about kill switches, though how practical those are for superintelligence is debatable.
Right.
And then transparency and accountability measures, disclosing when AI is being used, allowing independent audits, things like AI bills of rights.
And finally, just education, making people aware.
Hugely important. Educating the public, policymakers, even developers themselves about the real risks and limitations. It's not magic.
So a mix of laws, industry standards, technical research, and public awareness.
That seems to be the consensus on the path forward, which, circling back briefly, brings us back to sci-fi.
Right. The difference between HAL 9000 and, say, a biased loan algorithm.
Exactly. Sci-fi often gives us conscious, hostile AGI. Reality, for now, is narrow AI, where the problems stem from flawed data, unintended consequences, human error, or misuse.
Though, as you said, some Black Mirror episodes about surveillance, they hit pretty close to home now.
They do capture that unease about technology's social impact. But the real-world stuff is often more incremental, more mundane almost, but the cumulative effect can be huge.
And public perception is trickier, isn't it? People worry about robot uprisings, maybe miss the more immediate risks.
Often, yeah. Entertainment shapes the fear towards apocalyptic robots, while surveys show people's more grounded concerns are about job losses, privacy violations, that sort of thing. We need to focus on the real current challenges.
Okay. Wow. We have covered a lot of ground here. From that crazy flash crash through biased algorithms, deepfake scams, dodgy self-driving cars, all the way to these existential warnings from top experts.
Yeah, it's quite a landscape. And I think the key takeaway is, while the sci-fi stuff is dramatic, the actual challenges right now and in the near future, they need a really nuanced understanding.
It's about those unintended consequences, isn't it? And human oversight, or the lack of it.
Exactly. And the absolute need for proactive safeguards, ethical thinking, before we deploy things widely.
And that responsibility, it feels like it falls on everyone, doesn't it? Researchers, companies, governments.
It really does. We all need to engage these issues thoughtfully, push for AI that genuinely benefits people without causing these preventable harms.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into AI risks and failures.
Thanks for having me.
We really hope this has given you some food for thought. We encourage you to keep exploring, keep asking questions. What stood out most to you today? What are you still wondering about? It's just the start of a massive conversation.
Absolutely.
And hey, if you want to keep digging into this fascinating, fast-moving world of AI, please do subscribe to the show for more deep dives like this one. And you can also find a lot more tutorials, guides, and insights over on my YouTube channel, which is Ian Ochieng AI. That's OCHIENG AI.
Check it out.
Yeah, please do. Thanks so much for tuning in today.